Ladies and gentlemen, आज हरजिंदर जी ने अपने उद्बोधन में महिलाओं की एक बहुत बड़ी चुनौती को प्रदर्शित किया. When we talk about the greater 50, we talk about enabling them in a society which is linguistically as diverse as ours. There are many components to empowering women, and language is also central to some of those challenges. I did not know that a cup of tea on a lazy afternoon over 2.5 years ago with Dr. Sangeeta Reddy would result in a call to action which can inspire many corporations, many organizations. I would like to compliment Uday Shankar and his entire team at FICCI for giving equal opportunity and support to the Greater 50 initiative. Rajshi Billarji for always blessing and supporting out-of-box ideas, and the people who came together to give a call to action, which for me is a bit diverse from other reports that I've had the privilege of reading through. Many in our country, especially who want to enable more and more women in the organized sector, speak of gender diversity. They speak of such plausible proposal within their organizations because there have been many studies that have shown that gender diversities make companies more profitable, more productive. Survey done by Harvard, in fact, across 1,069 organizations in 35 countries and 24 industries, in fact, brought forth research which says that companies that are gender diverse were more productive but also had an enhanced market value. However, what your call to action brings about is a nomenclature not often spoken about in Indian organizations, that of gender intelligence. The fact that the call to action brings about a distinction between gender diversity and gender intelligence is what makes your report extremely special. So organizations that are still flummoxed or grappling with gender diversity now need to look at a new nomenclature thanks to the FICCI FLO team called gender intelligence. And I'm sure there are a few people who will frown and say, ye kya naya hai? So gender diversity is about encouraging organizations to have more women at the workplace, but gender intelligence is about ensuring that those women stay at work. The survey throws up a few challenges, few points for introspection, which for me, I think is extremely challenging. The reality checks that the call for action has is something that every organization and member of FICCI should give a steady read. When there was a part of the survey that looked at how and which gender is dominant in organizations, only 18% said that the female gender was dominant in an organization, which means a majority of individuals working in organizations felt that irrespective of embracing the terminology gender diversity, most of the organizational behavior inclined towards the male gender. Now, this after people were conscious of the fact that they are taking part in a formal survey, which means that there may be many who've taken the survey who may have wanted to enhance this number in their reality check and say, listen, they say that this is a gender diverse organization, but I think most of the organizational behavior inclines itself towards men. However, to the brave 18% who were vocal about how their organizations are perceived by them, I give my gratitude, my thanks. There is a clear mismatch in perception of leadership within organizations with regards to gender diversity or gender roles. This is what your call to action throws up. So my request to everybody who gets their hands on this report by FICCI is to read not only between the lines, but read the details. As they say, God is in the details. Well, the God of gender is in the details of this report. But I also compliment the Focus Roundtable group and participants who did not spare the greater good or the greater 50 in their report. And I sign off when they say, and I quote, it is one thing to have women in leadership and quite another to have feminist leadership. A lot of women can have patriarchal leadership styles. So to all the men who join us this morning, I will say that FICCI FLO did not even spare the women. that they observed, they surveyed, and they studied. I think one can say that quintessentially, if you want to bring about gender balance, gender parity, gender equity, you need to recognize that the term gender does not mean only women. It means an inclusion of every gender. And that is why when we talk about the Greater 50, that afternoon cup of tea with Dr. Sangeeta Reddy resulted in a report which I find in terms of efficacy extremely important organizations to reflect upon. But there are challenges that it throws up, not only from the perspective of women, but also think other genders. And where does the challenge lie? Most of the organizations surveyed are organizations that are well positioned in our economy. The challenge comes up in the SMEs. And your report highlights that the SMEs now feel overburdened at the prospect of catering to specific needs of women, which in turn impacts their recruitment, which in turn impacts the retention of women at their workplace. So my appeal to FICCI is this, that yes, you have taken a giant step towards ensuring not only is gender diversity embraced, but also understood. Not only how leadership roles need to change from the perspective of gender, be all inclusive, but you've also historically brought forward a nomenclature, as I said, called gender intelligence, which I'm sure will soon become the talk of the town. But why do we seek to give this call to action? We seek to give it to help those who are right now challenged and overburdened. Significantly, as your report throws up, is the SME segment. So I'm hopeful under the leadership of Dr. Uday Shankar and all those who partook in this particular program, in this initiative, we can look at pathways to help SMEs in our country hire and retain more and more women. At the end of the day, why does it make sense to have women on board? Not only do we enhance the productivity and profitability of an organization, but the organization signals to the entire world that we have a confident and a competent management. My compliments to Team FICCI for coming out with this call to action in a report and positive stories that can celebrate the potential of women and organizations that encourage more and more female participation in the workforce. As I said to Dr. Reddy, I look forward to engaging with your team on Wednesday. 48 hours later, I am sure together we can start building something new, something better, something which puts women at the center, but at the same time, holistically looks after societal needs. Compliments once again and regards.